Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Bonsai Forever. My name is Jay. This is going to be the third episode in the series of how to take care of your bonsai trees. This is a portulacaria Afra. It's a variegated version of it. I haven't been maintaining this tree very well over the last year, so it's kind of got long scraggly branches. It is still growing. It's got the foliage at the end of each branch. So what I want to do with this one in particular is to shorten some of the branches back to a manageable size, because I would like it to get a little bit more bushy and have more foliage, more dense foliage, I guess is what I'm trying to say, more dense foliage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off like the ends of the branches here and here to get back to foliage, and some of these I'm going to take off a lot longer pieces to get it back to a manageable length of branch. It's kind of a semi-cascade, or one that is just kind of leaning to one side. I'm not sure what that's called, but I've had this tree for quite a while. I can't even remember how long. I think it's been about 7 years or so, 6 or 7 years, something like that. And I got it as a discounted plant because it was not doing so well when I got it, and it kind of looks like it did when I got it. So I know that I can bring this back, and I know that I can make it look good again. I've just been working on a lot of other things lately, and just let this one go. So it's time to bring it back in a good shape and see if we can get some more dense foliage on it. So I'm gonna just get started with it, and I guess I'll talk through it as I'm working on it, or as I see things. So the first thing, the reason why I have the rag out here is because the first thing with the jade plants or the portulacaria of any variety, you need clean tools. So I have some hand sanitizer. It's hand sanitizer with a little bit more alcohol in it, so that it makes it a little bit runnier, but it's still kind of like a gel. And then I just use my rag. Make sure when I open it, it's not pointing at my eyes, especially because it's hot out here, and this will expand inside and it'll squirt out a little bit sometimes. So anyway, so I'll put a little bit on the rag, work it in a little bit, and then I'll wipe down my scissors so that it gets off all of the old sap from other trees, and make sure that the scissors are really clean, because these are more prone to getting diseases or pathogens inside the plant, which will kill it. So you want to be really careful with that. You want to work with really sharp scissors when you're working with these also. So now that we're all cleaned up, I'm going to get started on this side, because a lot of this is going to be pretty obvious. Like these really long whips here, I'm going to take those off, and you can see each spot here is a different node. So I'm going to take it off in front of the node, because a lot of places where there's a node on these things, when you cut it off there, at the next node back, it could grow new branches there. So I'm going to take it off. There's one node and then two nodes, and I'm going to cut it right in the middle of the third one. And then I'm going to hang on to these, because these can be used to make new trees. So I'm just going to go through kind of quick and do this. I don't want to take up too much time. This one I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to go in the middle of it also. I'm going to go in the middle of all the nodes that I cut at, so that it has the potential for growing a new branch. And then at some places, like right here, you can see like it's a stub right here, and it's not growing a new branch out of that, so I don't think that it's going to. So I'm going to just cut that off completely, just like that, and that'll dry out and callus over right there. And like this branch here, how it's got nothing growing on it, I'm just going to cut that back to the center of one of the nodes there. Hopefully it'll grow something back behind that. I'm not an expert on the jade plants by any means. I just know that you don't want to water them a whole lot. They are a succulent, so you want to let them dry out before you water them, and you don't want to water them as often as you would water a typical bonsai tree, like a deciduous or a conifer. So these are going to be watered a lot less. They do like water, just not often. When I water this one, I water it till water comes out the bottom, and then I'll let it go for a couple of weeks without watering it, and that seems to do really well. Or, well, it seems to do really well. I'm not sure if I overwatered this recently or if I just haven't been trimming it back and that's causing it to grow really long. I think that could be part of it. It's just growing really long because I haven't trimmed it. So some of these that are just really long, I'm going to just cut those back and hope that these grow new branches, which it's a very good possibility that it will. It is coming up on wintertime out here, well, fall, so there's a good chance that it might not grow until next year, but that's okay. It's okay if it doesn't grow until next year. Just as long as it doesn't die, there's a chance for it to improve. So I'm just going to cut a lot of these back to get a good profile on this here. Cut this back to here. Just like that. Alright. So this video isn't going to be super long. I mean, that's pretty much all I can really do with this tree right now. At a later date, I'll show you how to repot it, because these, the jade plants and succulents, they don't grow their roots very fast. They grow their roots to hold themselves upright or hold themselves in the ground. A lot of succulents, they actually get their moisture from the humidity in the air, however much or however little there is, and their roots are a supplemental way of getting water. So they don't grow roots really fast, they just grow it to hold themselves up. So this doesn't need repotted. You can see it is kind of wiggly in the pot, which means obviously that the roots aren't, it's not root bound, put it that way, I guess. But it is growing, and it looks to be that it's healthy. The leaves look healthy. They don't look brown. They aren't withering. So each leaf is healthy. I think the main part with this tree is I haven't cut it back, so it didn't have a place to grow more leaves out of it. And another thing, they like to be in a more shaded area. Hot doesn't matter. It's just the direct baking sun on them. They don't really like that. So I had it in a really sunny spot also, so that could be really why it also did this. So I'm going to be putting it back into a shaded area, and then eventually I will be putting it into either in the house or in the greenhouse for the wintertime, so that it doesn't freeze, because obviously you don't want your succulents to freeze. Now there are some succulents that can be outside. I'm not going to go over all that, but these ones I wouldn't let them stay outside for the wintertime. Even here in Florida, it gets too cold. So I think that's going to be that for this video, actually, because there's not a whole lot to talk about it. And if there is, I don't know a whole lot about it. So yeah, do a 360 of it real quick here. And I hope you liked the video. If you did, give it a good thumbs up and subscribe if you aren't already. See you on the next one.
Right, good.